Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. The Samoan Nightmare. How Jai Apataya could do David Benavidez like David Tua did John Ruiz. And he did John Ruiz nasty. When I say nasty, I mean nasty. Look, man, I did a video yesterday and I can't believe how many people just converged on that video. I'm like, damn, going on 3,000 people that quick? That just lets me know, man, that the Samoans and the Jai Apataya supporters, they're on it. So are the David Benavidez supporters. But I said, you know what? Let me do another video because somebody posted something and I'm like, they hit the nail on the head. We're going to get into that, man. But anyway, the potential matchup between, Apataya and Benavidez is already generating the type of nervous energy boxing fans rarely feel. It's the same uneasiness people felt before David Tua and John Ruiz in 1996, because sometimes the ingredients for a short, violent, career-altering knockout are still sitting on the table. And Apataya and Benavidez has all the ingredients for a short, violent knockout. And this is one of those matchups where styles, habits, and vulnerabilities collide in a way that makes fans whisper, somebody going to sleep. And it ain't me. When people compare Jai Apataya to Tua, it isn't just because both men share Samoan blood, heavy hands, and natural explosiveness. It's because both carry a type of destructive physical authority that doesn't need rounds to warm up. And that's a fact. How the young boys say, no blue hat, no blue hat. And when people compare David Benavidez to John Ruiz, look, man, I like Benavidez. It's not an insult, but the more I look at this, the more I'm like, oh, no, this could be all bad. But all it is not an insult comparing Benavidez to Ruiz. It's an acknowledgement that Ruiz walked straight into the wrong weapon at the wrong time, and Benavidez, with his defensive tendencies and hittable style, could be walking toward the exact same danger and get his ass tranquilized within the first round. Now, David Tua, when he fought Ruiz, if you didn't see the fight, let me see something here. I may actually, I got to be careful. I know how to show it to you without getting a copyright strike. That's the only thing. Another 2 hours, man, because pause that bull crap. Nobody want to hear me talking right now. Let me show y'all this little shit. It's something ridiculous, man. Pause. Okay. Let me just show you. Okay. Just watch what happens right here.
Kombinasi pukulan keras yang luar biasa dari David Tua yang sebagian besar mendarat telak dan brutal. Dalam sekejap mata pertarungan berakhir dengan dramatis.
Shit's in Spanish. Oh man, I didn't know it was gonna be in Spanish and shit. But anyway, here we go. Let me just show you what happens here. Play it again. Shit's in Spanish. But we're gonna listen to it in Spanish.
Keras yang luar biasa dari David Tua yang sebagian besar mendarat telak dan brutal. Kombinasi pukulan keras yang luar biasa dari David Tua yang sebagian Kombinasi pukulan keras yang luar biasa dari David Tua yang sebagian besar mendarat telak dan brutal. Dalam sekejap mata pertarungan berakhir dengan dramatis hanya dalam waktu 19 detik saja.
Out cold. Out cold. It's crazy that was in Spanish. I didn't even want to hear I didn't know it was going to be in Spanish. But hey, nothing wrong. A lot of us understand Spanish. But what you saw there, 43 seconds. Ruiz getting knocked out cold, man. Caught by explosive hooks he never saw coming. Ruiz fought tall. He tried to box with his chin slightly up, his feet planted, shoulders stiff, reacting late to Tua's rhythm. All bad. Benavidez, for all his offensive brilliance, has been known to fall into similar patterns, standing tall, walking straight in, exchanging willingly, and relying on volume instead of evasiveness. Let me tell you, this shit has a recipe for disaster written all over it. Now, against smaller men at 168 or undersized opponents at 175, you know what? He didn't fight small guys at one. He only had 3 fights at 175. You know what? I would say that David Benavidez probably has been bigger than his opponents at 175 because he walks around 200 something plus pounds. So I don't know if I think it's fair to call him undersized. But what I will tell you is he got away with a lot of things because of his ability to pressure fighters and overwhelm them without being punished severely. And that I think is fair to say about David Benavidez. He got away with it, and he got away with it, but I'm just saying Jai Apataya is not one of those opponents. Apataya is a true cruiserweight with heavy, heavy power. In some ways, the most dangerous man in the division. And, unlike Tua, who relied more on looping hooks and raw explosiveness, Apataya's shots come straight, sharp, technical, compact, and terrifyingly accurate. And he can loop them if he wants, but he's a more polished boxer with the David Tua type power. You combine that with Benavidez's tendency to get touched early, and you begin to see the blueprint for a Tua Ruiz style disaster. Now, I still think that David Benavidez could always, figure something out. He's not John Ruiz, but he's there to be hit. And he gets hit with somebody with concussive power. David Benavidez is out of here. He's night-night. But I'm going to tell you this, right? Benavidez has always been proud of his durability. But the truth is, he has shown flashes, moments, where he looked buzzed by shots that weren't from big punches. Against Caleb Plant, he was hit clean repeatedly early. Against David Lemieux, he allowed himself to be caught because he was willing to take one to give 3. Against Gvozdyk, he was visibly shaken by certain punches, and matter of fact, if that fight had one more round, David Benavidez would have lost. Even though Gvozdyk is not a true puncher at that weight, David Benavidez was feeling that heat. And at cruiserweight, you're not dealing with mid-level power. You're dealing with career-altering leverage, natural mass and bone-thick punchers who fight in the 200-plus range daily. Now, Benavidez is going to fight Zurdo Ramirez at cruiserweight. Zurdo is a guy moving up, like how Benavidez moved up. So Zurdo is a threat, but I think he loses to David Benavidez. But Jai Apataya, I am telling you, will be the hardest puncher Benavidez has ever stood in front of. If Benavidez gives away early rounds the way he often does, he may not make it to the middle rounds. Ruiz never made it out the first round against Tua because his defensive recovery was slow. His stance was upright, and he couldn't handle the early fire. Benavidez has similar defensive lapses, and Apataya has better technique than Tua, which is the dangerous part, and the reason why I think, that first round, Benavidez could get his ass knocked out cold. I know he's tough. I know he spars hard. He's been doing this for a long time. I'm just saying, Benavidez could get his ass knocked out cold because that first round is going to be a problem. You got to understand, Jai Apataya, he's not just a puncher. He's a shark in open water. Against Maris Briedis, he proved he could fight through an injury, through adversity, and blood to dismantle an elite champion. Against Jordan Thompson, he walked a giant down and destroyed him with frightening ease. Against Ellis Zorro, he showed one punch at cruiserweight can erase a man from consciousness instantly. Man, I don't see how anyone can be sleeping on Jai Apataya. He's a fighter who punches through his target, not at his target. And you got to think, when he knows he got David Benavidez coming up with that soft body and tall and long torso, David Benavidez is going to, Jai Apataya is going to be looking to destroy him. And I'm asking a serious question, right? How does anyone see a guy like David Benavidez standing up to Jai Apatow, taking those punches. You know, that's my question. How do you see that? What is it that you see? Because I know David Benavidez can fight. I know Jai is there to be hit sometimes, but David doesn't box like that. That's not David Benavidez' style, to be on the outside, not box somebody and shoot a big looping right hand or right hand down the pipe from the outside and land. That's not his style at all. So, you know, all I'm saying is when he lets his hands go early, Jai Apatow, opponents often don't get a second chance. That's all I'm saying. The way he shifts angles, dips left, steps right, fires counters is eerily reminiscent of a young Tua mixed with the technical discipline of a trained southpaw like Alexander Usyk, who knows exactly how to generate knockout torque from awkward positions. All it takes is one Benavidez lap, and the Mexican monster will get tranquilized by the cruiserweight monster. One high guard that's too slow, one exchange he shouldn't take, one forward step without head movement, and the entire fight changes instantly. I'm just being real, man. I mean, I'm trying to. I'm gonna tell you what the problem is with David Benavidez. He likes to fight too much. He wants to fight. That's not bad. Me as a boxing fan, I'm telling you, that's not a bad thing. We want to see that. But that is his biggest flaw, but it's also his biggest weapon. He enjoys fighting too much. He loves the fire. He loves the chaos. He likes to stand in front of you and prove he's the bully. At 168, he could do that. At 175, he showed that, you know, he could kind of do that. But at cruiserweight, standing in front of a man like Apatow is like standing on railroad tracks there in a freight train to hit you. You won't survive. And if Benavidez hasn't fully grown into his new body yet, and we're going to see what happens when he fights Zurdo, because he still hasn't beat Zurdo, even though I think he beats him. I'm just saying, if he hasn't grown into that new body yet and he just barely gets past zero, I wonder if his chin doesn't scale up with his weight. And if his punch resistance hasn't adapted to the higher class of power, and that he can walk right into the perfect storm, the Jai Apatow storm, and get his ass tranquilized, destabilized, knocked out cold, chest to canvas with his ass in the air like at a Diddy party. The Jai Apatow, man, let me tell you, it's the kind of storm that ends quickly, brutally, and unexpectedly. Just like Ruiz walked into a storm. It's going to be a problem, people. But this is the thing, right? Here's the nuance. Right? Here's the nuance. Benavidez is dangerous. Also very, very dangerous. He's bigger than people realize. He throws combinations like a welterweight, 175 to 200 pounds. Let me tell you something. To be able to let his hands go like that, and he has super fast hands. He's got heart. So whatever Jai Apatow is bringing, David Benavidez isn't going to quit. He's got heart, got volume. He has relentlessness. If he can use that pressure responsibly, he can push Apatow backward instead of giving him distance. Next thing you know, David Benavidez could drown Jai Apatow late. I don't know if that's going to happen. But this is the thing. That's the problem. That's why I say I don't know if that can happen. To impose pressure, what Benavidez wants to do, he's got to walk through the hottest zone of the fight. He's got to. Tua needed one window to end Ruiz's night. I'm telling you right now, for David Benavidez to walk through the hot zone in there with Jai Apatow, Apatow only needs one left hand and one sharp right hook, and David Benavidez is out of there. I'm just trying to understand David Benavidez, because he's coming straight forward. Jai Apatow, that way he let go that left hand and that right hook, he punches through you. That high guard David Benavidez has, that ain't gonna be the answer. That ain't gonna be the answer, man. You gotta understand, Benavidez offers opportunities every time he gets in the ring. He starts slow, but he'll start to warm up once he gets in the pocket. You know what I'm saying? He did start fast against, what's his name, Anthony Yard. But Benavidez is a dog. You gotta give him a chance. The more I look at this, I really do think this is David Tua, John Ruiz. And it's because the fight has all the ingredients of a Tua Ruiz type fight. You're mixing timing, you know, styles, habits, and then the weights. Tua was bigger and naturally stronger and denser. Jai Apataya is bigger, stronger, more technical, and sharper than Benavidez. These are the facts, people. Y'all don't like them, but then, screw you. Shit, go jump in the river, man, eating crocodiles and try to swim across. Don't get mad at me because I'm giving you my perspective. I'm trying to explain. I'm not just saying, Apataya knocks him out. Get over it. No, I'm trying to explain, so appreciate the dialogue. But Apataya is bigger, stronger, sharper than Benavidez, powerful, just all bad. Ruiz had heart, but heart doesn't save you from physics, man. And he learned that shit when Ruiz was in there with Tua. And Ruiz, and then, he had heart, but Benavidez, like Ruiz, he has heart too. But heart won't stop a perfectly timed left hand from a 200-something pound Samoan destroyer, cruiserweight monster. Ruiz likes to exchange early. Benavidez likes to exchange early, especially when he gets going. Ruiz fought tall. Benavidez fights tall. Ruiz assumed he could take the punch. Benavidez assumes he can take a punch. Ruiz learned instantly that he was wrong. Negative. Benavidez can learn that lesson the same way. Let me tell you something, man. Hold your horses. Let's stop taking it to the stupid. This isn't about disrespecting Benavidez. It's about understanding danger. Real danger. Not theoretical danger. Not if the fight goes 12 rounds. Nah, we're not talking about that. I'm talking about immediate danger. First round danger. Do not enter. That kind of shit. The kind of danger when the bell rings. Ding! Both men step forward, and within the first exchange, the fight's outcome is already written. Fans sense it. Analysts sense it. Fighters sense it. I mean, the dog biting the cat senses the shit. Everyone knows because when a man who has never been hit by a true cruiserweight punch steps in with a man who can crack bones and break necks with every shot, all it takes is one connection. And Jai Apataya is breaking necks. David Benavidez with that long Mexican monster neck, could get that shit broken trying to take the shots from a guy like Jai Apataya. And this is why the comparison to Tua Ruiz, I understand some people are saying, nah, David Benavidez is different. You're wrong. Oh, you're glazing, Jai Apataya. Oh, you're biased. It's like, look, asshole, I just sat here and told you a bunch of good stuff about Benavidez too. I'm telling you that he could win the fight. I don't think he does. I think he'll have a tough time getting through that danger zone for Jai Apataya. So what I'm saying, the comparison with Tua and Ruiz, and then Benavidez and Apataya, the shit's not hyperbole. You know what I'm saying? It's a warning. I'm trying to be respectful, but give a realistic warning. Benavidez is moving up in weight. He's chasing greatness. Atta boy, job well done. You get the gold star. But greatness doesn't just require skill, it requires surviving the new ecosystem. And Jai Apataya is a predator in that ecosystem. Benavidez might rise to the challenge, or he might meet the same fate Ruiz did. That's what makes this fight so compelling and so dangerous. Because Benavidez, to me, is walking into a Samoan trap. And Apataya has the blueprint to KO people. Benavidez has never felt power like this. I think early, Apataya may destroy him. And I think the fight gets violent real fast because Apataya and Benavidez both come in there looking to seek and destroy. Nobody's looking to back up. They're both looking to be on the front foot, and someone's going to get tranquilized early. This shit may honestly be the scariest matchup in boxing because you know kidding have a Mexican monster against a cruiserweight monster. But at the end of the day, I think Apataya, if Benavidez just wants to come with the high guard and walk straight in, I think Jai Apataya, because every fighter, even the fighters who people consider just bums, they're dangerous in the first round. The first round, every fighter is dangerous. That's why you get caught slipping, get caught cold. You be like, how did this guy win? Every fighter's dangerous. But Jai Apataya could end Benavidez in one round, so that's why we're talking about it. Because to me, there is a Tua versus Ruiz parallel, and I had to come and kick that knowledge, man. Anyway, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. Apataya versus Benavidez is another David Tua versus John Ruiz. Hell no. Don't make that fight. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.